true, and
Did I take that one?
Back to Committeeman Mahalko, go ahead.
Okay, I'm glad you asked me. Honestly, I was just about to comment. Facebook threw out a lot of stuff.
yeah, it did.
And I'm glad you came to ask to get, the correct information. So let me start by saying, let's start from the beginning. There's no conspiracy. There's no hidden agenda. We do need another field. That's a fact. And specifically, we need a turf field. We need additional field. There's been some debate as to whether to turf the existing, which personally I don't agree with, because we do need another one. We're at capacity. We're turning away. I coach a soccer team. I coach my youngest daughter. We have, the high school was nice enough to allow us to practice on their field Sunday evenings at 5 o'clock with 4 teams. We were all fighting for that turf field. So we need another field. There's, it's to that point where we certainly need one. Yes, we are looking at several options. One of them is in that upper area, but we're all over the map with where we're looking to put the field. I asked Isaac from engineering to come up with some, thinking out of the box, and he came up with some really good ideas. So there's been a lot of discussion and talk of how and where and what. There's nothing set in stone. One idea was in that upper field. A part of it did go on to the Samarco property. It is passive property. And we're looking into, there's ways to keep it off of that property also. One of the other things that was on Facebook was a $4 million bond. And I think I can speak for the rest of us, would never agree to, endorse, suggest, promote a $4 million bond to do this. Anybody want to argue with me on that?
There's no argument. I think confusion comes through with what the guesstimated cost for.
So we have numbers. I don't mean to cut you off, but let me keep going. We did get some preliminary numbers to put a field up in that area. And again, preliminary. We need to know what we're talking about. A field with lights up there. Our engineering department came up with a number of 2.1 million. Sounds like a big number. It is a big number. It's a big project. Almost regardless of where we put it, that's basically the number that we're looking at. So now we've got a goal. We've at least got a line to work to. Currently, with the approval of this budget, we're going to have $625,000 set away for the turf field. That includes $300,000 for 2019 to go towards it. If we continue at the rate of our savings at $300 a year, by the time we get to 2022, which is 3 years down the road, that'll get us to 1.5. How do we get to 2.1? Again, one of the options that was spoken about was potentially a short-term note to make up the 600 difference. That's maybe where somebody started talking bond. I don't know. They should be careful because of the people who've been at these meetings. They know what's being discussed. But that was one option. There are other options. There's delaying the project, which a lot of the rec commission doesn't want to delay. Just like you, when you put on an addition or you want to buy a house, you borrow money to get that shortfall, to make up the difference. I don't know of very many people that haven't bought a house without a mortgage or put on an addition without taking out a loan, or even buying a car these days without a loan. So sometimes that happens. I don't recommend it, but that's again, that's where the short-term note came into discussion. So you're really talking, again, about 600,000 if we did that plan. Another plan would be to accelerate our funding, see if we can get some more money, maybe cut back on the rec budget, add a little bit more to it, and get to that number even quicker. So those are some of the things that are being talked about. We are really focusing on a multi-purpose field, large enough to accommodate virtually all the sports. That kind of sets us, we know the mistakes that we made in the past when we did the Brickyard field. And again, it was the original intent was to make it a practice field. And I said, well, you didn't make it big enough for a game field. And then they went a little bit bigger and corrected it. So we're hoping not to make that mistake again. And again, we're pushing for a full-size soccer field, which seems to be the biggest. You can fit soccer, lacrosse, football is smaller, so that'll fit in there also. And you can play many of these sports on that field. We are looking for potentially lighting it. Again, to extend the time that we can utilize the field. I don't need, we've all talked about our housing obligation. We're gonna have more people in town, and we're already at max. So now's the time that we need to start planning and working towards that. So that brings us back to, if we were to turf the existing field, A, it's a beautiful field. DPW does a fantastic job. It's better than a golf course, okay? It would be a shame to tear that up. But B, it doesn't solve our issue of another field. We're still gonna be down a field. We're still not gonna have enough field. C, it's not big enough to accommodate full-size soccer or full-size lacrosse. Yes, smaller kids can certainly play on it. It can. But again, we're pushing for that extra field. Excuse me. So, timing-wise, we all want it as soon as we can. Place, we haven't decided on. We're still, and we're open to suggestions. The idea, everybody keeps coming back to, well, Hanover doesn't have a complex. We don't have a recreation complex. And kind of what we're focusing on is that Brickyard pool area, making it a complex. So that's why we're trying to work out to fit it in there. And then again, it comes down to money. And I think, again, we're wrapping our heads around figuring out how we're gonna make that happen the correct way. Again, the bond, whoever put out there that's a $4 million bond, shame on them. They know better. So, did I answer any questions? Do you have any more questions?
No.